What's up, everybody? I'm Jacob. If you're new here, I talk a little bit about everything. If you like that, stick around a little longer. In today's video, I want to do a little thought experiment using ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to come up with a new form of marriage based on all the complaints that men have over the manosphere and all the complaints that women have over men in general. And this ended up being a really interesting thought experiment. So here's what I asked ChatGPT. I said, I want to do a thought experiment for a new form of marriage. Since women often feel that domestic life is slavery and don't want to submit to a man, but put off having children, and men fear having their children taken away, losing everything in a divorce, etc., I have an idea for a new form of marriage. What if marriage was more like a business contract that is renewable at regular intervals? This contract would be like a prenuptial agreement that is executed upon dissolution of the marriage. And in order to make this contract, the married couple would have to have some deeper conversations about splitting assets when children come into the equation, i.e. custody and child support, and factors that affect alimony, etc. How would you structure this new form of marriage contract that is fair for both parties upon dissolution? It answered within seconds as such. This is an interesting thought experiment that attempts to solve the asymmetries and risks of modern marriage by borrowing from business contracts. If marriage were structured like a renewable business contract, it could force couples to engage in rational, preemptive negotiations before emotions and legal battles take over. Here's how I'd structure it to ensure fairness for both men and women while addressing common concerns. So it named it the Renewable Marriage Contract, or the RMC. And the first point, it says contract duration and renewal process. So the term length is negotiated and the marriage contract lasts for 5 years or in a mutually agreed term. And if one party declines the contract, dissolves under the pre-agreed terms. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, a grace period. If one party wants to negotiate terms, there's a 6-month negotiation window before automatic dissolution. I could just see the Riris and their Fifis screaming right now. Number 2, pre-negotiated terms of dissolution avoids legal chaos. So this for me, this was like the big thing that I wanted to have the AI figure out. Is a lot of times people get into marriage and men don't even like realize that their supposed wife has tons of debt and maybe some like other problems that they never talk about. So I like this idea. Everything's initially couched on assets and how they're divided if there's any disagreement in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. So instead of leaving divorce outcomes to biased family courts, the couple pre-negotiates all key terms. So A, asset division. Each party retains assets that it brought into the marriage. Kind of sounding prenumpy, doesn't it? Let's see. Newly acquired assets during marriage are split based on agreed upon terms. 50-50 percentage based on or based on contribution. That's fair. But again, with a lot of times with the women, they're going to screech because they want the men to pay all the bills. So it's that 50-50 argument. But even the AI just, locked onto that right away. Each spouse has an individual financial account and a joint account for household expenses. Contributions to the joint account are predetermined. B, custody and parenting plan if children are involved. So custody is predetermined, so 50-50 by default. And I know a lot of states are just going that way. But yeah, there's still a long way to row on that river. If one parent wants majority custody, financial responsibility is proportionately assigned. Child support is fixed based on income percentages to prevent courts from arbitrarily assigning high amounts. And again, so like there's this idea of like having this contract. And the other reason why I wanted to do this was the family courts. Family courts are big business. And my understanding is that when you're writing the child support checks, I don't know if this is the case for all family courts, but you're making the check out to the family court. And what do you think happens when you write the check to an intermediary party? They're going to take a cut, right? What that cut is, I don't know, but that's big business. On top of all the lawyers and the lawsuits. Last figure I heard that that family courts were, I think it was like a $15 billion a year industry. I'm going to look that up and superimpose that. But anyway, let's see, child parenting, custody and parenting plan. I did that one. Okay, alimony, C, only if certain conditions are met. So if one spouse sacrifices their career for family duties, they are entitled to temporary alimony for a set period post-dissolution. And that, that's fair because, if a woman gets pregnant, because this is the big fear they have, they get pregnant and, they fear that they're submitting to the man, becoming a domestic slave and missing in all this opportunity. But again, this is all part of that mental programming where a lot of women live their life backwards. And if they had the kids early, get the man early, then they can do the career later. And this wouldn't be such a big poo-poo, a big sticking point. But, we are where we are. Let's see. Alimony does not apply if both spouses maintain careers or if the contract expires naturally. Oh, that's hella fair. Alimony payments automatically terminate if the recipient remarries or cohabitates. Booyah! I love it. I know some states that's a mechanism, but there was that whole thing with permanent alimony in Florida, and these women they would just like never get remarried and mooch, but maybe cohabitate. So yeah, boy, I love it. Let's see. 3, built-in incentives for relationship stability. Oh, that's interesting. Performance-based benefits. If the marriage contract renews successfully, e.g. 10 years together, pre-agreed bonuses could be applied like higher asset retention percentages or investment in shared property. So vesting. You're vesting into the marriage. So just like with a job, you don't get the full stock options the day you start. You got to put in some time and then, you get the payout. So that sounds fair. And you always hear that term, how like, men are in love and women go into business, but you put something like this in a contract and they just absolutely scream bloody murder. So this is awesome. I love this. Let's see, termination without hostility. If either party refuses to renew, no one is at fault and dissolution terms execute automatically. Boy, that gives a new meaning to the term no fault divorce. Let's see, 4, optional custom additions. Infidelity clause. If one party is unfaithful, they forfeit certain agreed upon assets. Well, that's going to be a long conversation. Reproductive planning clause. Both parties agree beforehand on family planning, e.g. number of children, timelines, and financial provisions. Career, you know what? Actually, what I would like to see in here is DNA tests upon each child's birth. Absolutely required. Absolutely required. So that way, like if there's a mechanism in the clause that if any child is not part of the marriage, that kicks off other things. It affects the vesting, more mechanisms in the contract that, determine, is the marriage dissolved? That would be awesome. I would love to see that in this contract. But again, this is a thought experiment. Let's see, career growth clauses. If one party financially supports the other's education or career advancement, reimbursement is built into the dissolution terms. Wow. That's a big one. Riri's and their fifis. I can just see it now. Okay, so the AI then goes into why this works for both genders. For men, this prevents losing half their assets arbitrarily. Protects custody rights over children and removes surprise divorce settlements weaponized by family courts. Boy, howdy, let me tell you. Let's see. And for women, this guarantees financial stability for those who sacrifice career growth. I mean, it's only fair, right? You raise the kids, you sacrifice your career, built the family, you're rewarded for it. I have no problem with that. Let's see. Provides a structured, predictable dissolution process. And finally, encourages collaborative decision-making over legal warfare. Boy, howdy, love it. Okay, let's get into the final thoughts the AI had. This model, it forces couples to think long-term while protecting individual interests, much like a business partnership. And like I mentioned earlier, you hear all the time, women go into business for their relationships and men are in love. But the minute the man makes it couches anything in any way in business, the women just throw that whole, well, you don't love me, and look at it as some kind of violation of their independence or something. You can predict it. No one enters a business deal blindly. Why should marriage be any different? A renewable contract prevents gold-digging divorces, incentivizes mutual commitment, and eliminates state interference in marriage. I love it, because I didn't even ask the AI about family courts and all the fears around that, although it kind of could have inferred that through men losing everything in divorce. But still, it's just amazing how the AI connected that dot. Let's see. Would people actually adopt this? Maybe. But it's a rational alternative to the broken till death do us part model that rarely survives modern reality. So there you have it, a thought experiment using AI. I thought that'd be a little fun to just kind of see what AI would come up with based on the fears of women and the fears of men and all the problems we complain about in manosphere. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. And in the meantime, comment below. And until the next one, peace.